And
spreading out information to the battle we march to the dawn. We're ready to die for the king. On the fields of bright and fair, fight at will. Aim for the cannons, counter-attack. Under the guns, both meet once, all stand united, all together.
Gott mit uns. All together now. Gott mit uns. Ladies and gentlemen, I says to you, welcome to the Freedom Forum. And all together, Gott mit uns. Hey, William, how you doing, brother? Welcome to the Freedom Forum. And that is the message today. All together, as we all stand united, all together, Gott mit uns. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Freedom Forum. I am your host, Yeo Guardsmanam. Thank you for tuning in on this lovely December the 21st here at 7:30 Pacific time, whatever you want to fucking call it. I don't give a shit. I hope you're all having a good, wonderful holiday and having a good time. I personally just released a bunch of my my book out there in the world and the ethers and whatnot. So I'm having me a good old time. And yeah, Gott mit uns. Let's all stand together now. All right, Eric. Thank you for coming by, brother. Hey, cuz. Yeah, about that. Apparently, something has been making it so I can't even call 911 on my phone. Yeah, I'm dead serious. My cell phone does not work to the point where I've been using it to just like on the off chance get on the onlines and YouTubes and whatnot, because my calling is just shit. It's shot. I can't call anybody. I can't even I can't call my own mother. I can't call the freaking the police or the fire department if I need them. I can't call fucking EMS if I need them. So, oh well. You're on your own. Have a nice day. That's what they basically said to me. So I said, fuck it. I'm good. I don't need nobody's help. If you're going to be that kind of way about shit, see this? That means sit on it and spin on it, motherfuckers. That's where I says. So, yeah, I don't fucking care no more. I'm dead serious. I can't call anybody right now. I can't receive calls. I can't give out calls. And it's not like I don't pay my bill or nothing. All right. Let's be clear about that. I do pay my bill every single month. I'm very adamant about that. That's the one thing that I keep up on is my cell phone. It's because above all else, I need to be able to contact folks. So since I can't contact anybody, thinking about getting rid of it because it's useless. I mean, really, in a nutshell, it is pretty much useless. The internet goes down and I can't use my computer. And so I get on my phone and listen to music because that's about all I can do. I think that folks don't like my my ability to talk to my family and my friends. Well, if I got this to look at it by that way, if they don't like what I got to say, or if they don't like the fact that I keep on talking to my family and my friends, well, maybe you should stop listening to my conversations if you're so offended by them. Food for thought. You know, this is to Mr. C.I. Ray, who is sitting there in the back rooms and just watching me in a doobly-doo. I'm saying, if you do not like what you hear, then maybe don't fucking listen. It's very obvious. It's a very easy thing to do. Just click off. For the rest of y'all, I appreciate you being here, and we all stand united on that. You know, got Midlands. Be honest. You know, that's all it is. Let's all be united, good friends. That's the whole point. I appreciate all of you, and thank you for coming by and hanging out here and, you know, enjoying the Freedom Forum, because I've stopped doing this for the most part because it's just I don't need this. Okay, I honestly don't need it. I do this for other folks. That's why I do it. In a nutshell, I don't do this for me. And I've been waiting for folks to actually catch on to that, you know, that I do this for everyone else. Because if it wasn't for the fact that I do it for everyone else, I wouldn't even do it. I do this specifically for other people. For me, my therapy comes in the form of listening to music, shooting my air gun in the backyard, hammering on steel, talking to my family. Yeah, they're trying to take away my therapy. That's a very dangerous subject to dabble in, by the way. When you take away my therapy, I become a very dark individual. And not talking about skin tone or, you know, any of that other bullshit. I'm talking about up here. I go to a very dark place. Some of the things that my imagination can do are honestly scary. For instance, I know things about the human body that would make most people sick. Okay. I know certain methods of torture that leave no marks on the human body whatsoever, but are excruciating. And yes, that's because of my own personal experience, not because I've ever done it to anybody. My point is that, you know, my mind goes to a very dark place when I don't have my outlets. My outlets are simply, you know, like I said, shooting my air guns, hammering on steel, just, you know, being an all-around genuine good dude and trying not to get into trouble. That's how I have my outlet. It's like I try not to cause harm to anybody and just, you know, stay in my own little sphere of influence. A lot of folks think that, you know, because of that, I'm like some, you know, personality complex or some shit. No, I'm just an average motherfucking Joe. That's what it is. I'm an average Joe. The difference is that this average Joe has been dragged through the mud to the point where my give a fuck is busted. So that's why I'm just, you know, I'm having me a good old time. I'm just kicking back, relaxing, you know, y'all crack a beer, have a good time, smoke a doobie, chill out. It's all good. You know, I'm one of those fellers that I've done enough in my life. I don't need congratulations from others. I just do. Don't get me wrong, congratulations is appreciated. It's one of those things, like, everybody likes congratulations. But that's not absolutely necessary. What's absolutely necessary is that ability to get out of my head. Because, like I said, it is a very dark place. I used to paint landscapes and sceneries and whatnot, peaceful landscapes and sceneries, because it was what my mind yearned for. It was what I wanted to see, what I wanted to feel. And yeah. Now, I don't even do that. For me, peace is found through attempting to have just a day without having to go and tell some other dumb motherfucker off. And yes, I myself am a dumb motherfucker, by the way. But let's just be honest. All right. Yeah, I'm smart. I'm really fucking smart. I understand. I get that. Okay. I know. I do astrophysics in my head. I do mathematics in my head. I have an affinity for science. I understand. I'm intelligent. Great. Fine. But I still do stupid shit. Just like everybody else. See, that's the whole thing. I try to find common ground with people. I've been doing a lot of study on personality types and personality traits, because obviously everybody wants to know what's your personality type. Are you an alpha or a beta or a gamma or a delta or sigma or whatever? You see, and apparently my personality type most closely represents a sigma, but I can't really root it down exactly to being a sigma. At the same time, I can't exactly root it down to being an alpha. And I sure as fuck ain't a beta. I'm sorry, but I don't follow anybody. I'm not interested in following anyone anywhere. It's not for me. I'm not a follower. I don't adhere to the whole idea of, if we all just shut up and got in line, we'd be okay. I'm sorry, but that doesn't compute. My life has taught me that those who follow will walk blindly wherever their leader takes them. I don't want followers. I want friends. In order to be my friend, you actually have to think for yourself. Okay? And, a lot of people have told me, well, they try to attack me for certain stuff. And that right there tells me that it's not so much that they're, butt hurt because I'm a leader, or they're butt hurt because, I've said something that they don't like. It's simply put, they want to attack others. Because the philosophy holds, hurt people hurt people. And that's how it works. If you've been harmed in your life, you're more likely to strike out at someone else. Whether that's founded or non-founded, that's entirely situational. I don't give a shit. That's all circumstantial shit. Hurt people hurt people. And it was one of the most succinct things that anyone has ever told me. Because believe it or don't, I didn't learn this myself. Somebody else told it to me, and it was a realization for me. Hurt people hurt people. And we've been hurt as a nation, all right, as a people, as the United States. We have been hurt really bad, by the way. I don't know if the rest of the world can understand this, but the moment that specific liberties and freedoms start being taken away, those things we consider to be rights, non-negotiable by their very nature, when those things start being needled at and taken away, it's much like as if somebody had backed you up to a wall and started punching you in the liver and asking you what you did wrong. To me, them's fighting words. I don't give a shit. Somebody throws a punch at me, it's over. All right. So yeah, I'm all about let's have fun. Let's just relax and be free. That's what this whole thing is about. That's why the Freedom Forum. Relax, enjoy, have conversation with each other. Be constructive in what you say and what you do. Because believe it or don't, when you build, you heal. It's a very truthful part of life. The more you build things, the more you build up, the better you personally feel. And then that translates to how you make others feel. So instead of destroying others and just tearing into them for something that honestly you probably didn't even think about, instead, try building them up. Say, you know what, I could see that you may misunderstand this. So here's what I think. That's fine. We don't disagree. We don't agree, but that's what, good conversation is for. Both sides can see the other side's part of the argument, and perhaps both sides have a good point to make. I'll give you for instance. The other day today, I was sitting there and just, talking to some special person on Reddit. And I giggle at that because let's just be clear. This was on a subreddit called terrible Facebook memes. It was a Facebook meme where it had the back end of a Jeep, all right, and on the back end of the Jeep, the wheel cover for the spare tire said, "This vehicle is equipped with the anti-theft device," and it had the sign that stick shift sign on it. It was great, but the person who posted it said we could cripple a whole generation by simply writing in cursive and making everybody have to drive manual transmissions. And I laughed my ass off because the thing is that they were talking about my generation, which is millennials. All right. I'm 35. Let's be clear. That's the millennial generation starting in 1986, 85, and going until 2003. 2005, somewhere's in there. That's the millennial generation. So that's the generation that they were talking about crippling because they can't, most of my generation can't drive a manual. All right. And can't understand cursive writing, let alone write in it. And I simply commented, well, I learned how to do handwriting in the first grade. It was Danilian handwriting, which is where instead of having an A that's the little top over it comes down and then you got the circle in it, it's a circle and a tail is an A. That's Danilian handwriting. Well, Danilian handwriting translates directly into cursive. And if you can write in Denilian, you can write cursive. And if you can write cursive, you can read cursive. I learned Denilian calligraphy as my base handwriting. That's why my chicken scratch doesn't always look like actual chicken scratch. It's a little different. As a kind of a for instance, here's a picture I showed my cousin the other day. This is what this sword is going to look like. So as you know, yes, by the way, that's very piss poor, but it's Denilian handwriting. Okay. Learn that in private school. You don't learn that in public school. In fact, you don't even learn it anymore in private school. They kind of got rid of it, which is pretty dumb, because Denilian handwriting translates directly into cursive. I'll do a for instance for you, and hopefully y'all can keep up with this. Where's my pencil? There we go. Okay, so here's the word. Come on, computer. As. All right. Now I'm going to connect this. I'm not going to write anything else. I'm just going to connect it in cursive. You see my point. So I write in cursive. I write in Denilian. Most people don't realize this, but when you sign your name for like a signature on a document or something, you write in cursive. That's the whole point behind this, is that even though most people don't know it, they write in cursive, but they can't read it. Like if I wrote my name in cursive, okay, most of you can read that. Some of you cannot. And that's what's funny about it, is that it's very simply the same thing. I mean, I'll write in Denilian underneath it. You see, that's my point. That is the education I got. A lot of folks don't like that. They're like, oh, what do you have this hatred for these people? I don't. I don't hate anybody. I'm ashamed of my own fucking generation because, unsavory as it is, they can't read that. If it doesn't look like God, this is much more of a pain in the ass to do than you think. Okay, if it doesn't look like this one down here, they can't read it. This is the same as this, which is the same as that. Simple education. All right. I mean, yes, my education is well more founded than this, but funny enough, something as easy as handwriting confuses my generation. What's worse, some of you will think this is absolutely fucking hilarious. And others of you won't know what this is. That is a millennial anti-theft device. Oh, that's so funny, but it's true. Because a lot of millennials can't drive a stick shift. I can. All right. Again, that comes down to education. It comes down to people doing things like that. Well, anyways, I got into a whole heated argument and discussion with somebody about why I would be ashamed of my generation. The horrible part of it is that they then tried to say, well, if this is a problem for you, if you're ashamed of them for not knowing how to do this, then why aren't you ashamed of them for not knowing how to, run a telegraph? And do you know how to run a telegraph? And I said, well, not anymore. I don't know how to run a telegraph, but that doesn't mean anything here or there. It's simply because I haven't learned Morse code in years. I haven't sat there and studied it in years. I mean, I know how to build a telegraph device, but I haven't studied it in years. So my knowledge is a little fuzzy. That doesn't mean I don't really know that it exists or that I, how to do it. It just means that I haven't done it in years. So my knowledge is fuzzy. Whereas millennials nowadays don't know what they just don't even know what a manual transmission is. And there are very few of them out there that can read cursive. Real bummer that. I mean, that's why I'm just on that level of it bothers me sort of things, I learned how to draw when I was a kid. All right. So nowadays I can do things like this. Cover art for my book. I learned how to draw when I was a kid. Some people can do this really well and still can't write in cursive. So even though they could draw like that, they could never do that. Very simple little signature. Signing your artwork, which gives you credibility. Real bummer, because this is a very nicely well done drawing. I mean, this is hard, long effort, hard work. But nobody would know it was me unless I did that. And a millennial would look at that and go, is that like a propeller or something? It's pretty sad. Because on every piece of my artwork, even my schematical drawings, you see my initials on every single one. A lot of people don't realize it, but that's my initials right there. This right here is my initials, BP. A lot of people wouldn't know that was a P unless they knew how to write cursive. There again, that's my issue, is that because of this little furdunket, which, several millennials took serious offense to. And it was just as simple as a comment I made. I was like, I am ashamed of my generation because they have not attempted to learn this. I taught myself astrophysics when I was 10. Okay. If I can learn astrophysics as a third grader, you can make the effort to learn how to write in cursive, which case you will also be able to read in cursive when you're done. That is what really got my goat. That's what makes me ashamed of them, okay? As a 10-year-old, a tender little youngin', I learned how to be able to do the mathematics involved with orbital reentry dynamics. Okay? You could learn cursive. I mean, it's not hard. It's not rocket science, by all means. It's not rocket science. It's simple handwriting. But, oh well. Hi, Andy. So, yeah, it was a matter of, it just got my goat. It made me tear my hair out, as you could see. People were making me nutty. I mean, fine, I'll show you. Fuck it, I will show you because it is that stupid. I'll go ahead and pull it up on my profile. My profile. All righty then. Let's do that. And where's the share button? Present. Okay, maybe it's that. Yeah, okay. Share screen. Chrome tab. And we goes to, yep, here we go. Now you can see. Go ahead and click on it. Here, let me offend an entire generation. I literally told this person it's all about that. And look, they even deleted all of their freaking posts because they were butthurt about the fact that I was telling the truth. See, this is why you can't deal with stupid people on the internet, because smart people honestly end up just slaughtering them in the comments. Yeah, this person completely destroyed all of their posts because they realized how dumb it was to get into an argument with me over this. I'm a millennial, and I pointed out all of the different stupidities in their argument. And because I'm not going to sit there and take it down because I'm not the kind of person who's ashamed of what I have to say, that's why this happened. So yes, I will go ahead and full screen the present. There you go. And let's read through it, shall we? Because, like I said, it said up here, let me offend a whole generation. I'll actually go right back to the old post. Okay. Not an entire generation, just the millennials who thought that school, I missed a T. Okay, haha, I missed a T. Just the millennials who thought that school and education was for suckers. I ride a motorcycle, signed my name in doctoral cursive, and started my handwriting in Danelian calligraphy. I am ashamed that my generation doesn't know what that is. The next vote down, this person downvoted me several times because of what they saw here. They took down their comment because they're ashamed of what they said, which you could kind of get from what I said afterwards. Mad? No. Ashamed? Certainly. I don't know how to operate a telegraph, but I do know how to research it without a computer. Of course, that's not to say that I don't know how to make one. I just haven't studied Morse in years. To which they replied some other stupid bullshit, asking me, well, then why are you ashamed? I responded courteously, I'm ashamed because it wasn't that difficult to learn. It just takes effort, which means that it literally takes no effort to be successful as a millennial. To which they replied something about, so you think yourself higher and better than them, this, that, and the other. I said, no, I'm saying that many of them are successful without doing any of that, yet they are doing so with almost zero effort, no effort whatsoever. That's not why I'm ashamed to be of the generation. I'm ashamed to be of the generation because with all that they get literally handed to them by people who just want to see them excel, they choose to be ignorant. I don't, and so I am shunned by my generational peers. They replied something about, so you think you're better than them because they're this, that, and the other, and so you're shunned because you are so high and mighty. I said, no, I don't think I am better than them. I just don't think they're better than me. I have a saying that I hold to like duct tape. We are equal, or you are nothing. Apparently, most of my generation like to think of themselves as my betters. And that's a reality. They do. So then he responded with some dumb shit again. To which I responded, one can be ashamed of a person or group and still consider them equal. Introspection is for those who spend little time in their own heads. And the dumb shit they said was you need some introspection. I'm going to point that out. Introspection is for those who spend little time in their own heads. I almost never leave mine. I'm absolutely ashamed of my generation. They act like the world owes them. I have made it my life's work to earn what I have. Yet I treat everyone I meet as my equal until they prove to me that they are not worthy of that respect. Therefore, I am ashamed of them, but I do not think of them as any less until they try to say they are more. To which they replied that I've got my head so far up my ass that I'm a Klein bottle. To which I lost my shit and said, if I were a Klein bottle, then I'd be a step ahead of you because at least I'm whole. As I said before, I treat others as my equals until they prove to be my lessers. Welcome to the turd buffet, maggot. I'm surprised that an ass-munching Mobius strip like yourself could carry a conversation in a bucket. What with your narrow scope of thought? Apparently, you don't understand how deep thinking works. So I'll enlighten you this one time. Shame is how I see others who feel so high and mighty that insult is all they know how to respond to deep philosophical thought. Amazingly, I still think that if you decided to unfuck yourself, you could make a relatively substantial pass at being a decent human being. Just because I disdain those with no understanding of what real education looks like doesn't mean I can't find it within myself to be cordial. However, as I said before, my courtesy extends to those who can stand on an equal footing. I can see that you don't have that ability. So do the world a favor. Find a bridge over 60 foot off the water, grab your foot, and pull it over your head while standing on the railing. So in case you guys didn't understand why I love tearing into people who are pieces of garbage like this person was. I mean, literally telling me I've got my head so far up my ass that I'm a Klein bottle because I'm ashamed of others that aren't willing to do what I have done in order to get where I am, and they are still there. In fact, they are more successful than me, even though they did less work and made less effort. Why would I be ashamed of that? For one reason. They did not take the journey. They simply arrived at the destination. As I said, deep thinking. Since they can't understand how that works, and they decided to just insult me because idiots do that, I decided to drag myself down to their level and elevate them the fuck back up to proper thought. At which point they said, oh shit, I just got into an argument with a guy that knows his shit. It's kind of funny. See, a Klein bottle is a representation of two Mobius strips that have been laid on top of each other. And basically, it is a bottle with a neck that goes back into itself. In a perfect world, a Klein bottle doesn't actually go and dip into itself. It just seals in its one sealed unit and doesn't actually push through itself. But you can't fill a Klein bottle when it's not pushed through itself. So there. Anyways. It's two Mobius strips that have been laid on top of each other. So I insulted him with intelligence. To which point, yeah, did not have the intelligence to come back to that one. Instead, he went and got one of his buddies to come over and just write down some bullshit on the fucking bottom of the comment. And I said, all right, you know what? Screw you guys. And I blocked the guy. It's not something I normally do, as you've seen. I will try to discuss appropriately something before I ever do something like that. I try to point out, the faults, and I try to help and to educate. And if I can't educate, then I don't waste my time. Apparently, YouTube saw that and decided to start sending me this shit. This is the only thing that works on my phone anymore, by the way. Let's see if they actually if it shows up this time. Because yeah, I spent hours looking it up and looking at it, but oh, there we go. They just started recommending it to me, like, and that's apparently people don't understand how, what a Sigma male is, but they are protectors. They are the protectors of the entire group. They go out of their way to help others. They want to see their world advance. They are intelligent. They are loners for the most part. They don't go looking for approval from anybody. Rather, they attempt to help others to understand truths. Whoa. Damn. There's some deep philosophical shit there. I just saw on the YouTubes. Anyways. Yeah, like I said. Anyways, I just thought, open up the Freedom Forum and everybody have a good laugh. Have a good time. Have fun. So. Lions, tigers, and bears. Oh my. Yeah, but really though, I want you to imagine that for a minute that there are people out there that all that they do is attack others, specifically because that's what gets their rocks off, man. They're following in the footsteps of some asshole that's all that he wanted to do was go and attack others, or wanted to do was go and attack others. And to me, that's not fulfilling. That is degrading. It degrades the person who is doing the attacking more than it degrades the person who is being attacked. So that's why, in a nutshell, I frame all of my conversations with education first, patience second, and then a fuck you as a third. Judolf Bittler, welcome to the Freedom Forum. I don't think I've ever seen you before, but hey, anybody knows Jodolf? Or Joe, if you have a different account that we know of, please say so. That way you don't accidentally get blocked for just being. Oh, I need to go stick some more wood on the fire. Okay. Raw. That sucker's hot. And I'm probably going to have to go grab another bundle here in a sec. Guess it looks like I'm using up the rest of it here. Yep, that was it. Gotta go grab another bundle here. Okay. So, I'm happy that y'all are here. I'm happy you're enjoying yourselves. Please enjoy the Freedom Forum. And if you don't like what I got to say, you have the right to click off or stay here. It doesn't matter. Speak your piece, speak your mind. You're always welcome. We try not to block anybody, specifically because it's a matter of freedom of speech. It's only when you start attacking the community or you start attacking the host that we say, all right, that's it. All right. There's, like I said, there's only a few rules. They're very easy to get with. You are not allowed to post pornography links. You are not allowed to porn bomb the panel. And you're not allowed to attack anybody in the chat. It's very simple. Basically, no bullies and no dumbasses. It's the only thing. By all means, have fun. Welcome to the Freedom Forum. Feel free to enjoy yourselves because it's always something that we want to have here is folks enjoying themselves. Because apparently a lot of folks have forgotten. Ladies and gentlemen, this is called For Honor by Peyton Parrish. It's a Viking chant.
Sailing across the mighty rivers, in a row to the beat of drums, heading amongst the raining seas. On time we approach the gates of foes, ready and gather all our strength.
Yes, absolutely, Teasel. Tizzle. Not quite sure your name yet. As I said before, this is called For Honor by Peyton Parrish.
Shields be shattered, arms of steel, bloody axes fly with fury, raging thunder shake the sky, wrath of battle stains our mind, rage of vengeful kings of war, heal his sons and daughters fall. Sailing across the mighty rivers, in a row to the beat of drums, heading amongst the raining seas. On time we approach the gates of those ready.
Yes, ladies and gentlemen, For Honor. For the honor, have no fear. This is something that I try to push out there, that I try to make, as plain as day. For the honor, for honor, have no fear. The honored have no fear. We're not afraid. Don't be afraid of the world out there, because the world out there can only kill you once. The reality is, we as human beings have eternal souls. Whether or not you believe in heaven, or you believe in reincarnation, or you believe in just, the inky blackness afterwards, you still believe that there's life after death, because if you believe in an inky blackness afterwards, then there's something after. That's the point. There is something after you die. If there was nothing after you died, then there would be nothing for you to sit there and ponder on, happening after you died. You'd still be alive. Which is my point. We human beings have eternal souls. We have eternal life. And regardless of whether you believe in Christ or you believe in, like I do, in the ancestors and the spirit and the ability of the spirit to be ethereal and continuously living, even though the body dies and the spirit takes on a new body every time. And until you're able to answer the question, the all-consuming question, the question of the ethereal. And understand when I say this, It's the only memory I have that I'm not able to place in a former life or in this life. The only memory that I have that I've also stuck in my book as part of the book. And that is, as your mind slips away and your body dies, you hear a voice in the darkness, and it says, "What is the answer?" And anything other than the right answer gets you the response of, "We shall try again." Okay? That's literally the be all and end all of it. You could float through eternity. You could live forever. You could live and die and repeat. Yes. These all I have. The point remains the same, though. Death is not the end. It is simply the beginning. See, I wrote a lot of my religion into, or well, not my religion, my beliefs into my book. And in case you're wondering, that is the Sky Knight series that has been recently posted to Reddit. And I am continuing to write. And it has 3 books so far. I'm working on the 3rd book at this moment, and going to be fairly soon moving on to the 4th book. But it's a story based on, well, reality, really. It's real science, real astrophysics, real material sciences. And that's what I've been doing with my time, because what's the point of sitting around and doing nothing? If you're not being productive, the only person who is suffering is you. And this gives me the best opportunity doing this, the writing, and the just being lost in science and math and physics and whatnot. It gives me the best opportunity to be able to do my other duties, which, for those of you who don't know, I am a former Minuteman. The whole reason why it's in air quotes is because we use that designation as Minutemen to basically throw off the scent. You're still going out there. You're still serving the community. You're still helping out. You're not retired. There's no such thing as retirement as a Minuteman. There is service and death. That's really what it is. Of course, you're only really supposed to serve as a Minuteman until you're like 65, because your body can't take the beating anymore. My body can't take the beating anymore, but I still get out there and do it. I'm 35. I haven't even made it to that point yet, but my point still remains the same. I'm constantly serving, constantly getting out there, still helping out the community, still going and tracking down threats to the community, helping out when situations are dire, like in the middle of a rainstorm, the power goes out, and with the recent attacks on the power grid, maybe they need an armed response. You never know. So when the militia community gets out there and does their due, everybody's actually better off for it. We got our power back in a matter of minutes rather than days when I jumped off my ass and went and did. There's the fucking deal right there. The more people who get involved, the quicker you get something taken care of. Something my dad taught me when I was younger. So, again, being a Minuteman doesn't necessarily mean you're just, gung-ho, guns blazing. That's all. That's just fantasy bullshit. Being a Minuteman means service. Doesn't mean I'm going out there with my gun to go and shoot somebody because they're crossing the border illegally. Sure, that might be the case if they decide to shoot at law enforcement. But really, the only reason why you're down there doing that is to back up law enforcement in their job. That's it. The rest of the time, you're just going around taking care of homeless folks, digging up garbage out of the freaking, the backwoods and whatnot, cleaning up the area. It's just basic community service. That's all it is. It's community service. Most people don't understand the militia anymore because they think of the militia as just a bunch of idiots running around with guns and fancy gear and LARPing. That is not the militia. That is a bunch of retards playing soldier. Okay? There's a difference. The militia goes out there and does the things that aren't fun. It's not fun for me to go and burn, a quarter tank of my gas to go and run down a freaking branch that fell on a fucking power line. All right? That's not fun. That's an expenditure to me. And it's cold, it's wet, it's rainy, it's a pain in the ass. I got to go and sometimes I got to get out of my truck and go and walk around in the woods for a while before I find the down power line sort of shit. I got to go and, say for instance that the worst happened, the one thing that everybody thinks of the militia for. Say we are invaded by a foreign entity who is intent on doing American citizens harm. That is the most undesirable thing for a Minuteman. You don't realize it. But you don't ever want to be in that situation. It's a reality that we all train for. But it's not something I want to be in. It's not something that I look towards or I want to have happen. Let's be honest. Dude, I could have a freaking 20 Mike Vulcan on the top of my truck, and I still do not want to be in that shit. Because use your brain. What happens in combat? People get hurt. Sometimes people die. You really want to be there? Be honest with yourself. Only a fucking retard goes running into a hail of bullets. A brave man ducks and dodges through the fucking rubble on the ground and the bullshit, trying to get to his objective to stop the hail of bullets from happening. That's bravery versus stupidity. Okay? And that's my point. Men and women out there that are in the militia or that see themselves as Minutemen or militia wives because of the fact that you are American citizens and you were born in this country and you're over the age of 18 and under the age of 65. Back me up. Tell people this is what the real militia does. They're not just a bunch of fucking retards running around on the border with a gun and a penchant for trying to kill, illegal immigrants. No, we're not down there to kill anybody. Okay? You're not down there to harm anyone. In all reality, you're down there to try and protect American citizens. Okay? That's the whole idea. The less lead that flies, the better you've done your job. The better you've done your duty. And that's the difference here. A lot of folks don't know that. They look at it as, oh, well, the militia's just down there fucking shooting up the place and they're just a bunch of terrorists. No. No. The militia is down there trying to protect Americans. Whether or not they're shooting doesn't fucking, it's neither here nor there. If they're shooting, then there's some reason they are shooting. It's probably because they're being shot at. The real militia is not a bunch of fucking LARPers. Most of the real militia don't have fancy nods and nice rifles and plate carriers and all the nice gear and all the IFAKs and extra special shit. No, the real militia simply picks up the rifle that's next to them and runs out into the fucking fray. And it's that simple. That's it. That's the militia. You ain't got to be part of a special group or some shit like that. It's nice if you've got that group. It's nice if you've got that training. But the militia is not that. It's American citizens simply standing to the common defense and defending the Commonwealth, which the Commonwealth is the American people. So, sorry about the rant, but I kind of had to. Some of you were there when I tore into someone for sitting there and saying, well, you're not militia. I was like, what the fuck, dude? You don't understand what fucking militia is. Kentucky, brother, I have half a jaw. I have half a face. I still get out there and do it. Seizures don't mean anything other than you might be in the middle of some shit and have to lay down on your left side and hope to God that it stops quickly. Trust me, I know. I've got friends who have seizures. Shit, I every now and then have what's called a stress-related seizure, which it's where my brain just goes, fuck, and, I stare off into space and do nothing. It can get you killed. Excuses are like assholes. We all have them, and they all stink. I don't like running into the freaking fray. I don't like going out in the cold, icy, wet rain to go and chase down a power line that got knocked down. But most of the people in my community don't burn wood as a source of heat. They use electricity, which means they will freeze to death. If I don't go out there, if there aren't enough people out there chasing down the problems, heaven forbid, there's Red Dawn happens, the worst possible happenstance happens. I'm going to fight until I can't anymore. I'm going to fight until I'm dead. And that's just how it works. So, yeah, it's not a matter of you can or you can't. It's a matter of you will or you won't. And I'm sorry to really kind of rub it in like that. That's not very genuine. See what I mean about stress-related seizures? I start to stammer a little bit. That's indicator one. it's a matter of, if you've only got this much time to make a difference, because nobody's really certain about what happens after death, right? But if you've only got this much time to make a difference, why spend this much time telling yourself you can't? That's the whole point. Instead, as my good friend Steve Harloha says, as you know, Ronnie Cash says, just fucking do it! Just do it! Thank you, cuz. Thanks for making me laugh. That was great. I appreciate it. No. You can either be held down by your disabilities, or you can consider them a handicap and move above them. It's kind of like in golf. If you're golfing with a handicap, that means like, you take 3 strokes to somebody else's 1 stroke, right? And you just move past it. You try to play the best game you can. Same thing in life. Okay. I have handicaps, which are real debilitating handicaps. All right. I have an aggression complex. I have half a face. I have an abdominal suture, which to this day has not healed completely. And it has been 10 years. All right. I have arthritis in my hands, my elbows, my shoulders, my neck, my knees, my hips, my ankles. Every joint in my body hurts every single day, every single second. I still get out there and do it. And it's all right here. You got to be determined. It's determination that gains you the day. Well, there you go. You know how to make whiskey. You know how to farm. One of the most important parts of being in the militia is a knowledge of how to make gunpowder. If you're a farmer, you know how to make gunpowder. Because you know how to take care of chickens, you know how to take care of cattle, you know how to fertilize a garden, you know how to make gunpowder. That's the whole, that's a big deal, brother. That's a very big deal. See, being in the militia doesn't just mean standing to the common defense. It's also providing for the defense of the Commonwealth, which means if you cannot fire the gun, you make ammunition for the gun. If you cannot march with the men, then you make food for the men. It's really not that complicated. Every single American is in the militia. Every single one of us. And that's why when folks tell me, oh, well, the Chinese have this 3 million man army, I'm like, that's nice. You know that here in America, we have a 3.5 billion man army. Just saying. Yeah. And Kentucky, he was right. You don't have problems. You have handicaps. They just hold you back. That's it. They're just holding you back. You can force your way through it, or you can allow them to hold you back. And that's what it's all about. See, I don't allow it to hold me back. I work my way through it. I have debilitating PTSD, believe it or don't. That's one of the problems that I have. And it makes it so that I can't sleep. It makes it so that I only, eat when I'm desperately hungry. It causes me issues in my everyday thought process to where I'm spastic when I think. Okay, my thought process goes from 0 to 100 and back to 0 like it's nothing. And so there you go. Like I said, yes, you've got a brain, brother. As long as you've got this thing still attached to your shoulders, you could do something with it. That's the whole point. Look at Stephen Hawking. The man was in a freaking wheelchair and could not move more than 3 fingers. That's my point. You are what holds you back. Because those of us who are willing to allow others to dictate to us what holds us back are really just holding ourselves back. You can put your shoulder into the yoke and just grind forwards, or you can let it pull you over. So there you go. In World War II, folks that could not serve on the front lines were working in factories, gathering scrap metal, creating gunpowder, farming, fishing, raising cattle, creating ammunition, making guns, providing for the common defense on American soil. That's the whole point. Just because you are not on the front lines holding a gun does not mean you are not part of the militia. Every single one of us is militia. And that's what I've been trying to get out there to people for the longest time, is that if you are an American and you have either been born here or you've been in America for longer than 7 years, I think it is, or 14 years. It might be it's one of the two, 7 or 14. I can't remember right, because I'm natural born. It's never been a problem for me. But natural born or naturalized American citizen, you are the militia. In the event of an invasion, you're either expected to make ammunition or fling ammunition. Because I can stand, I can march, and I can carry a rifle, and I can shoot a gun, I'm expected to fling ammunition. Because I also have a very brilliant mind. In the off time, I'm expected to come up with different concepts that could help further our community. At the same time as I am also expected to get out there and provide for the common defense in some way, shape, or form or another. That's the whole point. Don't hold yourself back. There's plenty of others out there trying to do that already. Instead, build yourself up. Make yourself an unstoppable force so that when they try to be that immovable object, they fail. Any Hoosiers? I'm pretty sure there's some folks that are very live right now. Matter of factly, exactly. Sure. Somebody called me a jerk and then decided to delete it because they were ashamed of themselves. That's pretty great. And that's something. See? So, what's stopping you from doing the same thing? Food for thought. Well, what do you know? I guess somebody liked chapter 8 of my book. I'm glad someone's enjoying it. I worked hard on it. Well, there you go. Just because, you know, a doctor says that, something is holding you back, don't let that hold you back. Just because a doctor says, oh, well, this is something that's wrong with you, don't let that be what stops you. Like I said, you are a very intelligent gentleman. All right. I've been in some of your live streams, brother. I've watched, I've seen. You are a very intelligent individual. All right. Just because somebody sits there and says, oh, well, you sound like a country bumpkin. Let me point something out to you, son. I talks with an Arkansas accent sometimes. That's the way my grandma was when she raised me. All right. It's the way my daddy was when he raises me. All right. The point is, don't let an accent fool you. Some of the smartest people I've ever met came straight from a farmyard. And when I say as the smartest people I've ever met, I'm going to point something out to y'all. All right. My daddy was born in Caribou, Maine. Lived on a military base until the time he was about 14 years old. In Gulfport, Mississippi, the age of 14, my daddy decided one day he was going to go out and try to make a life for himself. So he started hunting wild game, tanning the hides, selling the meat, hunting and fishing, doing the same thing, and started making very beautiful pieces of artwork. My granddad didn't appreciate that very much. He wasn't, he didn't like that idea. He thought that my dad was wasting his time. My granddad is a Navy guy. He's a sailor, construction battalion, hardcore motherfucker. So he told my dad as much. Well, my dad took it to heart. He felt really bad about it. So he decided to follow his dad's instructions and started himself up into high school. Got through high school, got his diploma. And then they moved to Pocatello, Idaho, when he was about 17, 18 years old, around there. He went to Idaho University, or Idaho State University. He got his master's degree in machine technology. Became a machinist. My dad hated his life for the next 25 years. Because he didn't stay with what he loved. Hunting, fishing, trapping, tanning hides, making beautiful knives and sheaths. He loved that. And he was really good at it. He was also incredibly smart. He knew nuances about leather that most people don't know. He knew nuances about steel that most people don't know. But instead, he decided to go with what his dad told him because his dad was telling him that he was going to be worthless and useless in his life. So in order to make a $4,000 check a month, he went and worked as a machinist, building aircraft engines and working with the United States Navy on the Tomahawk missile concept and the Titan missile concept and the Patriot missile concept. I mean, come on. The guy's a fucking god when it comes down to engineering, design, and, but he hated his life doing it. I used to ask him about it, and he said that if he could do anything in his life, anything different, he would have stayed as a hunter and a trapper. Because that's what he loved to do. He loved being an outdoorsman. He loved fishing and hunting and doing all that. It was his passion. But what he did for a living was take numbers and turn it into chunks of steel. And he hated that. He hated that so much. That's my point. Do what is just your passion. Fuck the world, man. They tell you you can't, you show them how much you can. That's where I come from. See, y'all may not know this, Kentucky, but I spent my childhood from the age of 10 and a half years old, or actually from the age of 4, really, but the age of 10 and a half years old to the age of 18 in a mental health lockdown facility. Because people thought I was crazy. Because there is no way that a 10-year-old should be doing calculus. There is no way that a 10-year-old should be doing nuclear physics. Well, excuse the ever-loving fuck out of me. That is my passion. I love science. I love physics. I love mathematics. But because I was a kid doing all of this, I got thrown in a fucking loony bin. And that is what pissed me off. That's what made me bitter to the world. And so when I got out of that and I turned 18 and all that, now I wanted to go and join up with the military because that was my other passion. I love the history of my family, which is every single conflict throughout the United States history. A Price, a Smith, a Cutler, and a Taylor fought and died in every single goddamn conflict. Everyone. Including Afghanistan. And that's what I'm saying. I wanted to be part of that. I wanted to continue that legacy. But because from the time I was 10 and a half to the time I was 18, I was in a fucking nut ward. You can kind of imagine how that would have a little bit of a damper on serving in the military. I used to be a target diver. You know what a target diver is? They throw rings down into the bottom of an Olympic swimming pool, and you have to, in one dive, go down and pick up all the rings and place them on a hook. One breath. I trained on that for almost 3 years in a mental health facility because I wanted to be a Navy SEAL. I wanted to be a UDT SWIC. It's what I wanted to be. Best of the best, get out there and get it done. That's what I wanted, anytime, anywhere. Nope, we can't let you do that. If we let you do that, then you would not exist, even to the military, even to the Navy, because that would be such a taboo that we couldn't allow you to exist. That's what the recruiter told me. He was being honest at that time. Because of my history, I would never get a pension. I would never get any kind of record of service. I would not be allowed to speak about my service. I would not be allowed to tell people that, hey, I'm in the Navy. I would not be allowed to have a military identification, even though I would be in the Navy. I would not be allowed to do anything. I couldn't have a firearm. No military discounts. No VA. No nothing. My life would not exist because I was in a nut ward before I fucking wanted to go and join up with the United States Navy. So that's why I'm saying, don't let the world hold you back. I joined the militia because I said, well, if the Navy doesn't want me, the Army can't have me, the fucking Marine Corps just said, fuck you because you're just too hard-headed. And I'm not going to do the Coast Guard. Sorry, but no. I don't like helicopters to begin with. But jumping out of a helicopter into stormy seas next to a boat that's going down to try and dive into that boat to go and pull people out, while that's really great, and I love our Coast Guards, our guardsmen for that. I love them for that. They're willing to go and do the hardest fucking job there is. the highest level of dedication. All right. I knew I could not handle that. I wanted to do what I was good at. I'm good at shooting. I am freaking amazing with a rifle. I am a surgeon with a rifle. I can split hairs with a rifle. That's what I'm saying, folks. I am adept with most military grade weapons platforms without ever serving a day in the military. And yet, I'm not good enough to be a Navy, not good enough to be a Marine, not good enough to be a soldier. Nope. Just good enough to maybe, if we got invaded, be bullet fodder. I can't get a job because of my history, because of my aggression complex. It would have been perfectly good for the military. It would have been phenomenal for the military because they want aggressive men. Not good for if you're working in the civilian environment. Really isn't. I've had to tone back my aggression complex quite a bit. I have it under control to a point where nowadays somebody could basically do everything except for putting hands on me and I'll turn around and walk the fuck away. I might yell, scream, shout, and tell them fuck you and all that bullshit, but I'll turn around and walk away. That's probably why I can't get a job. And that is why I'm on Social Security. I have not been able to hold down a job for longer than 2 weeks, except as a private live-in security guard, doing it all by myself. Being the scary motherfucker that keeps everybody off of the property. That was my job. That's the only job I've been able to hold for longer than 2 weeks. So I understand. I really do. Just because you are being held back by society or by somebody else does not mean that you should be holding yourself back. Success is up here. Let me put it this way. For a 4-year-old, not shitting your pants is a successful day. For an 84-year-old, not shitting your pants is a successful day. So if that's your standard to go by, then you're successful. Making tons and tons of money is not a standard to hold yourself by. Because I'm going to point this out to you. If that's the standard that you hold yourself by, you are going to constantly be chasing a dollar and forgetting about the ones you love. And the ones that love you. Don't chase money. Chase success. Chase your life, your life's experiences. You realize that when I first started having stress seizures, it was before I got my driver's license. I was afraid to drive because I didn't know whether or not it would affect my driving ability. Turns out it doesn't. It doesn't affect my driving ability. I don't stress out when I drive. It's actually very calming. The most stressful thing that I've ever done, the most stressful situation I've ever been in, you're going to laugh your asses off on this one. I swear to God you are. The most stressful situation I've ever been in, asking a woman out on a date. Honest God truth. That is the most stressful thing I've ever done in my life. Most folks would say, oh, well, no, you were down there on fucking Arizona border. You've got video of you doing it. You've got, there's these, I saw you in the chat sitting there saying you did it. And then, yeah, I was down there on the Arizona border. Great, fine. That's actually not as stressful as asking a woman out on a date to me. Go figure. I am not a fucking social butterfly. I just happen to be somebody who's been through the fucking ringer. And so that doesn't bother me anymore. Getting shot at just makes me angry. It doesn't stress me out. Yeah, Kentucky making medical marijuana legal is great. Them banning guns Pazuma to the moon, motherfucker. God, I just want to strangle your freaking governor, man. Sorry, but God, they make me so angry. Woosah. I'm going to stick this over here so that I'm not shaking the video, making you nutty. Okay. That's my point. Okay. You are the one that holds you back. If you allow others words, others speech, whatever, what they're saying, what they're telling you to hold you back from your true potential, then that is why you are holding you back, because you're allowing them to hold you back. See how that works? I'm not going to allow anybody to hold me back. Yeah, but here's the other side of that. The original revenue of Kentucky is tobacco. Well, tobacco and coal, but I digress. Because of that, there is a law in Kentucky that makes it so it's illegal to raise taxes on tobacco itself, not on tobacco products, but on tobacco. Okay. So cigarettes, you can do it too, but loose tobacco in the bag, you can't do that too. Not in Kentucky. It's a beautiful thing. One of the reasons why I love loose tobacco in the bag. That's my point. They're not legally allowed to, just because of that little tiny itty bitty law way the hell back in time. They can't do it. Yeah. Well, there's another one. That freaking returd. I want to walk up to him and fucking throw my glove down in his lap and just go. And then walk away. That or just do this. Right in his face. Anybody who knows what that means, you are awesome motherfuckers, man. Because the reality is, very few people know what throwing down a glove or flicking your hat means. It's something from the 1800s, 1700s. Something very rude to do from the 1700s. If you flicked the brim of your hat, that meant top of the morning to you, which meant you should have your head severed at the neck, you dumb motherfucker. That's what it meant. If you threw your glove down in front of somebody, that was called throwing down the gauntlet. I challenge you to a duel. You see how that works? Now, I know we've been here for quite a while, all right? So, I'm going to have to jump off because my battery's dying on my computer. But I just wanted to get this information out there to y'all. And Kentucky, I appreciate you, brother. And I wanted to tell you the way that I feel about that. You need to stop thinking of it as other people are holding you back. Okay? It's all up here. Mind over matter. Okay? You control the outcome. Nobody else does. Even with seizures, and trust me, I know, brother, that's a very debilitating disability, okay? It's a very debilitating handicap. Believe it or don't, I had a friend when I was younger, had severe seizures, severe epilepsy. In fact, it was so bad that he cut all of the fingers off of his hand on a table saw because he had a seizure as he was cutting wood. I know it's debilitating, but I'll tell you this much. All of those fingers cut off of his hand, he still made extremely beautiful woodwork, even after he lost his fingers, because he refused to let it hold him back. That's the whole point. It doesn't matter what it is that is your oyster. Fuck the pearl. Keep the oyster. Yeah, my mom has told me in the past that if I go and I try to do anything, this, that, and the other, she's going to put me in a mental home. You know what I did? I gave her power of attorney, but removed any power of conservatorship. So she cannot be my conservator. She cannot tell me what I may or may not do in my life. However, if I get arrested, she has the ability to go and, bring in lawyers. That's the big deal. You got to know your differences when it comes down to it. Don't give them conservatorship, but power of attorney is a big deal. If you get arrested for making a mistake, you need to have somebody who's in your corner, who's willing to fight for you, to go and get an attorney for you. Well, there's another thing right there. You know what holds you back from learning? It's not so much that other people aren't willing to teach you. Because again, remember how I said when I was 10 years old, really rather when I was 5 years old to the time I was 10, I taught myself biology and astrophysics. There is not a single college in the United States that will teach astrophysics, especially not to a child. So you teach yourself. Make the effort. Go out and learn. You know that the smartest man to ever live, this guy's got a 210 IQ. All right. It's so high that they actually can't really mathematically test it, because he's got the perfect memory. He's got a great background of education. That man taught himself everything. There's not a single teacher that was able to teach him. You can do the same thing. It all comes down to willpower. You have to want it. I wanted to know why, if you take and put too much of a certain type of metal together, will it vaporize an entire fucking city? I wanted to know. That's why I learned nuclear physics. I was fascinated with the idea of the fact that human beings have been off of this planet and walked on the moon. And I also was fascinated that, if you throw a ball, why doesn't it go straight? Why does it curve as it goes through the air? So I learned astrophysics. I learned all physics, because those physics are important. It helps you to understand the world around you. And that made it so that I was willing to put into my own life the effort necessary to learn other things. You see, while people in my life were trying to hold me back and trying to keep me locked away in a freaking closet somewhere and doped up on drugs out of my mind, I was learning. I was teaching myself. I was using my imagination to understand concepts, because I understood that the only person who is going to give a fuck about whether or not I succeed was me. And my dad, but me. My dad's a great man. Well, was a great man. He drank himself to death. He was one of those gentlemen that was held down too. All right, as successful as he was held down by himself because he allowed his depression to get the better of him. As you can see, I don't. I strive to work past my depression. I strive to work past my post-traumatic stress, which causes me to have actual seizures and seizures. Yes, like as if you had epilepsy, but not quite as catatonic, perhaps. It doesn't cause me to just like and drop and start fucking shaking and that kind of a seizure. It's how do I describe it? Like the twitchy that I do with my hand, it's actually a type of seizure. This rapid movement in my hand, I'm holding something and flipping it around. That's a type of seizure. It's called a stress reactive seizure. And another type of stress reactive seizure is, you see it a lot with folks who have been in combat. You see it a lot with folks who have been who have seen extremely gory situations in real life. Okay, and that is it. They'll sit there. They just stare, and that's what I'm saying. Hey, Kentucky, welcome on up, brother.
You're talking about the myoclonic jerks, aren't you?
The what?
Myoclonic jerks, I think they're called.
It might be. That's something I didn't actually get that far
And
into.
see, mine started out like I'd go, ugh. And see, I ain't never had a seizure while drinking or anything. It's just all been stress related.
So there you go. And your trigger is stress, kind of like me, but the difference is I don't go into an epileptic lock. You know, I don't go into what is fucking. I used to know this shit. That's why it's bothering me.
See, and then my ex, she told me to go stay with my daddy. Well, he wanted to have an abortion before I was even born. And now his wife that he's married to, she works at a drug rehab.
Well, see that right there is another reason why I love both my parents, but I refuse to live in the same home with them. All right, but my dad no longer with us, and he was a great man, but he was also a very troubled man. My mom, she's honestly an awesome woman. I love her, but I can't live in the same home with her. That's why I live up at this house up in Oregon, and she lives down in Los Angeles because
You sound like me and my mama.
Nick can't live in the same house. We'll drive each other nuts.
'Cause I've always got along better with my grandma, and she's even had neuropathy ever since 1988.
Hmm.
But like I was saying, there was a 30 years age difference in my grandparents. My grandma was 27, my grandpa was 57 when they got married. So even when I wanted to learn how to cook and clean and all that, you can imagine about what my late grandfather said, being a son of somebody that was raised in the 1800s. Well, as a matter of opinion, 1880. So his daddy was born before some states even had a law that said kids at least had to go to a certain grade. And Kentucky was one of them, and he even told his mama, no thank, well, I'll just put it nicely, no thank you that he wasn't going to school.
Oh, I'm on that level. They tried to force me. And matter of fact, I went to private school from the time I was, 5, about 5, 6. I went to private school all the way up until I was in junior high. And I said now, junior high was a pretty impressive little mind fuckery because when I was in junior high, there was fellers and whatnot there that they thought I was like the ultimate nerd and a dumbass and this, that, and the other. Come to find out, they didn't realize that time that I was, one, a martial artist and had been since I was 8 years old. And two, I was also an astrophysicist. I knew things about science and chemistry and nuclear physics that most of these kids in this class that I was in didn't even know were a thing.
Well,
They'd
and
sit there and say, oh, well, ain't you the average Einstein? And I'd say, no, I'm not the average Einstein. I am Einstein.
my science teacher, he said, that's very impressive. He said that you just picked up how much you know on how to distill just from watching that show. Because he said that's the hardest type of science one of them there is to even know about.
Yes, it is. It's one
How
of the
much you know
hardest.
about history.
I'm honest with you. I'm still kind of a noob at distilling.
You ever heard of Jared Blair?
The name rings a fuzzy bell, but it's been a long ass time since I've heard it.
The one they said was as famous as popcorn until popcorn came along.
That's why I don't remember it, because I remember popcorn.
That was my granddaddy's granddaddy from the hills of Kentucky. Didn't even know it until like 2 or 3 years after the show had even premiered. I don't even know if my grandfather even knew it.
Well, I've got a few different famous folks in my history. Most of them are on my mama's side. I mean, there's a couple of famous folks on my daddy's side that you probably have heard of. Paints his shirt red, or paints his shirt in death. There's a Native American who was in a very well-off movie back in the 80s called Jeremiah Johnson, which is based on another one of my ancestors called Jedediah Smith.
And a lot of people that my family knew, they lost their land when that became a national park out there. And that drove a lot of people not too good in the head either when they done that. There was one guy, they said you could just be talking to him and he'd be saying, "See those snakes? There's something about snakes in his tobacco in the barn."
Hey, I made that shit. I figure, if somebody's seeing snakes in their tobacco, they got a little bit of that fungus in the tobacco. Most people think that you're just crazy when you're sitting there talking about that sort of stuff. But no, I literally go, well, let me see your tobacco. I'll start looking through it, seeing if there's the little white fuzzy shit in there.
Yeah.
I have tripped balls off of that.
And see, tobacco can also have what's called lice, frog eyes, black shank.
Mm-hmm.
Black shank can also be in the soil. It don't have to be from too much rain either.
Yeah. A lot of stuff that happens to tobacco. That's actually why I put so much effort into having tobacco be, of a certain variety and dryness, and I'm kind of picky about it.
And I'll just say this: where are you from? Not being nosy.
Oh, I was born in Torrance, California. I moved to Ogden, Utah from the time I was a year and a half old till I was 10 and a half. And I was raised by my mom, my dad, and my grandma Nay. My grandma Nay was from Arkansas. She was born in Blytheville, Arkansas, and lived in Camden until she was about 25.
How close was that to Hoxie?
To where?
Hoxie, Arkansas.
Hoxie. Blytheville, Camden. I want to say about 300 miles.
I know what you're about to say. How do I know about Hoxie, ain't you?
Huh?
I know what you're probably thinking. How do I know about Hoxie, Arkansas, ain't you?
No. Let me put it this way.
That's where my family's originally from, and before they moved up here, they would travel back and forth growing tobacco in both states.
You ever heard of Sticks, Arkansas?
Sorta.
It's an actual town that's not even 10 miles outside of Camden. Sticks, Arkansas.
There.
Like, so I've heard folks tell me, I'm from out in the sticks. I'm like, Arkansas? And they're like, no. I lived out in the middle of bumfuck Egypt. I'm like, oh. So when you said it's Hogsey, I'm like, is he talking about yeah, that's about 300 miles outside of Camden.
My late grandfather, he even told me, he said, you don't want to go in farming. He said, there ain't no money in it anymore.
Yeah, there ain't no money in farming. There's all that there is in farming nowadays is self-sustainability. And, you know, it's not like you really get into farming to make money, to be honest. You do it because you're trying to help others, you know, you're trying to provide. That's what it's all about.
And preserve the heritage.
Uh-huh. That's what farming's all about. Because honestly, anybody can start a farm, go and take out a loan for a couple million and buy all the equipment they ever need, never have to hire anybody, and just run the farm and it runs itself. The ones who really do it for the sake of not for making money, but keeping to the heritage. All right. They hire workers, they get the old school tractors, you know, they get the land built up, and they do it in the old ways. Those are the real farmers, all right? Not these new corporate dumbasses that go out there, oh, I'm gonna go buy up all this fucking land and, you know, grow a bunch of wheat. I can make my beer cheap.
Yeah, just like this one guy around here. I ain't making this up. He's got about 1,000 acres of tobacco.
But there's a difference there. Most tobacco farmers, most tobacco growers are traditional. They're very traditional. Whereas, you know, nowadays, wheat farmers, corn farmers, melon farmers, all just a bunch of automated fucking tractors running around out in the fields.
True.
And I know this because I used to live in Blythe, California. Blythe is one of the biggest automated farms owned by none other than Bill Gates.
That brings me back to another point, and that's about Bill Gates and Elon Musk. I wonder if one of them might be the Antichrist.
Well, I can't quite comment on Bill Gates. I never met the man. I got about 30 seconds with Elon Musk. You heard that right. 30 seconds. I showed him my concept for a warp engine that is based in sound astrophysics. You know what the man told me? He says, go crawl back into your cardboard box. I don't have any need for that. This is the man that owns SpaceX. Doesn't have a need for a warp drive.
Dang.
Yeah. 30 seconds with the man. He told me to go crawl into a cardboard box. So I don't know about Bill Gates. I mean, the man is pushing vaccines that are killing people. But Elon Musk is an asshole.
True.
And he gets off on it too.
See, I've tried to look into everything that I'm compassionate about. But see, where I have seizures is bad. Well, look, too, I have Dwayne detraction, which means that one eye won't turn all the way.
When I get back inside, if I still got the battery power to do it, I'll actually show you what I mean by I only got half a face. Oh, come on, truck. There we go. It's turning to ice out here.
Did you use the dip?
Huh?
Did you use the dip and chew?
Yes, sir. I still do sometimes. My daddy got me into it.
I didn't know that's what happened. Or...
Nope. That's not what happened. I got into a fight with a home invasion somebody, my brother's cousin. We're not familially related. We are adopted, per se. My mama adopted my brother. But his cousin showed up to the house and broke in and tried to kill me. Stabbed me in the chest, broke my face damn near in half. And here, I'll show you in just.
Dang. I know you've had a lot more life experience than most people, too, so.
Well, that's the way it goes. Life just, it smacks you.
There's one or two questions I want to ask you. You might not be able to know the answer for me, but I figure you'd probably know the answer better than most people.
Fire away.
My ex unblocked me. Would that be good or bad?
If she unblocked you, it's probably because she's feeling lonely. To be honest.
And she
sees that you're doing better.
Or she hasn't posted anything about her new man in almost 2 months now. And she was posting him and tagging him almost every day.
Well, she might be single.
But she's still got in a relationship. But one of them's got in a relationship since May the 22nd, and the other one's got in a relationship since May the 19th.
You know what you call that? Fake it till you make it.
So in other words, they may be trying to set me up and have him jump me.
There's a possibility of that. Wouldn't be the first time I've seen that one.
But his mama don't have her as a friend anymore on Facebook. And she had her on there ever since May up until just a few days ago.
Maybe she's being a bitch. I mean, my mama ain't like that, but I've heard of women doing that to their daughters when they turn into fucking grown-ass women and start doing stupid shit.
And then she told me this. She said, I always care for you and I always love you. And then she also told me this. She said, don't you never tell anybody that I said this. But do you delete your streams or no?
No. So don't tell me. Because yeah, I don't delete them. I leave them up there for the most part because I have a memory that is failing on me because of being,
If I had you on face, wait a minute, I could tell you in the private chat.
Yeah, you can do that, and I'll keep it to myself. That much I can swear to. I will keep that to myself. I won't tell nobody. I don't think that's righteous when somebody goes and blabbers someone else's secrets and shit like that. That being said, I'm probably guilty of doing it myself a couple of times. But that was somebody who done wronged me in a way that I wouldn't do to nobody. So I figured it was turnabout's fair play. That's a little different than just like, you're trying to be a friend and trying to be righteous. I won't do that to friends. Chet, my computer's about to die. kill down some of this. I want to keep that one open. And yeah, we'll just destroy that. Works, and maybe I'll still keep enough juice in this to run righteous. Here, J. Yes. Okay.
There it is. See, she's also the one that told me about gang stalking too.
Yeah.
What would make your phone like have computer like font text on it when you turned it on? Not even turn it on, just the screen looked like it had computer like type on it, or somebody was typing in computer font.
Well, somebody would be hacking into your stuff, or you're in the admin part of it that it just turns on before you've opened up any operating system or anything like that. And if there's something that's already typing itself up, that might be the operating system booting up, or it might be somebody else booting up something else on your computer. So it depends on.
Can I ask another question?
I'm sorry, what?
Do I got a common looking face or like a very uncommon looking to my face?
Slightly common, I'd say. I had a brother who's in the militia and also was in the Marine Corps who looks very similar to you. We'll say it that way.
She said I know. She said I met your daddy, and she explained to me in great detail what kind of car him and his wife had. Well, my mama does paper route down around there. Well, I started noting because I started looking every day there for about a month. Sure enough, that was the same kind of car they had.
Okay, well then you got a stalker, brother, and she's
No, she ain't a stalker. Can sometimes people in the military be involved on gang stalking?
Yeah.
Or was in the military? Because she said, and this dude literally tried to corner me. I'm just gonna leave it at that because I ain't wanting to end up in.
Yeah, no, that there's a possibility that because I'll put it this way. I've had folks try to kill me. Like,
How familiar are you with like the Bible and stuff?
you could say that beyond actually quoting to you the
Things about the
actual
Bible
chapter and verse, I can quote to you verbatim what the Bible says. I just can't quote to you where that came from in the Bible.
What's that called? It's basically like the Third Covenant, where it's got a bunch of books, but it's called something that they left out of it. The astrology or something.
Oh no.
I know what I'm talking about. I just can't pronounce it.
See, now you're asking me to do something I can't do. Damn it.
Have I seen the night? But she said it talks about honorable killings and all that, and
The
she
War
said
of the
some of these-
Maccabees. That talks a lot about that. There's also First and Second Kings. Talks a lot about warfare. Well, First Kings really talks a lot
said-
about warfare.
and she said they also texted her talking about how it was honorable to kill the firstborn.
Yes, that's in Leviticus, I think. It's an Old Testament thing. The laws, the laws is Leviticus.
And see,
I
I
mean,
was
some of the Bible I could turn around and tell you approximately where it comes from, but I can't tell you the exact verse. And that's what a lot of people can do, is tell you the exact verse of what it is. I can't. It's not because I don't have an education in it. It's a matter of it just isn't that important to me anymore.
and see, I was the firstborn, and she was the firstborn. And she said they started quoting that like back to back. And said they won't never be able to find you because you'll be at the deep of a river.
See, I'm the firstborn as well. So if they're talking that sort of shit, if it's all or nothing, come after me. Come at me, bro.
And my daddy's new wife has even got it on recording saying that he sees me as an embarrassment.
You know what? That's something my dad used to tell me. I was the mistake. Difference is, my daddy also told me that he loved me. That's one of the few things I can say about the man. He did say he loved me.
Then he tried to throw it up in my face how come he's never came and seen me. That he was in the military, but he's been out in the military for 10 years now. Then he blocked me.
I think that's more of just a deadbeat, brother. That ain't a daddy. That's a sperm donor. Nothing personal, nothing meant, but that man ain't your daddy.
Then he got mad at me because I got my brother something for Christmas. One of my brothers. I've got two brothers I ain't never seen. Then I've got a sister out here somewhere that's 12, 13, 14 years old that I've never seen, don't even know her name or anything.
You ever watch them Marvel movies, Guardians of the Galaxy?
Yeah.
All right. You remember the point in the movie, I think it was Guardians 2, where what's his fuckers is holding on to the arrow and he's carrying Star-Lord up into the sky, and he says to him, he might have been your father, boy, but he never was your daddy.
True.
Okay. That's what I'm talking about. He might have been your father, but he ain't your daddy.
I don't even consider my stepdaddy. He's a good guy, but I ain't never considered him my father either. Because where I've got problems, sometimes he'll call me things that he shouldn't call me, things I ain't going to say on your channel out of respect for you and your channel.
No, I don't give a fuck. There's freedom for him. You can say whatever the hell you want, just so long as you ain't going out there and saying that I'm a lying cocksucker. Because motherfucker, I ain't a liar.
Well, he called me an idiot, acting like one, the R word, the N word. Basically, everything under the sun you can think of, he said I've acted like it.
See, people like that, they don't have anything better to do than to go out there and cause other people harm. This is what I was talking about by hurt people. All right. And if you allow that to get to you, then you become the hurt person and you go out there and you start trying to take it out on other people because it becomes that vicious cycle. It has to stop with you before it becomes a problem. So what you do, and this is something I've had to do a lot in my life. You go, you know what? You can talk all the shit you want because it ain't true. I will tell you who I am, And if you don't want to take it, that's your problem, not mine.
And another reason why I wouldn't go live with my daddy and his new wife, my grandfather on that side, he's been in Louisville for years.
Okay.
Like literally, if I would have told somebody my life back in the 50s and 60s, they would have said, if they was a singer, they would have said, wait a minute, let me go get some paper. I got to write this down. Yeah, because she works in a drug rehab, and his daddy's that.
Well, let this blow your mind. My great granddaddy, or great great granddaddy, was Enrico Caruso on my mama's side.
Yeah.
Or not Enrico, Vincenzo Caruso. Enrico's piano player. That's actually where my voice comes from, is Enrico. So yeah, that's why I'm saying, it don't come down to too much of, don't let it hold you back. Let it be something that advances you. Look at the good, the positive in things. Don't let the negative hold you back.
That's why I've even looked at like people like pages that are former drug addicts or going through recovery, and I try to find ones that are more faith based because I've heard from my own cousin, and after hearing that and seeing that, I'm like, yep, I bet these regular rehabs probably are easier to get drugs than the ones than being out in the street. And sure enough, I looked it up. These that are more so faith based also has a higher rate of them not reusing.
Yep.
They get out and them staying clean.
And mind you, that's not religion based, that's faith based. There's a fucking mile of difference in that. All right. And when I says faith based, it could be you find your faith in Christ. That's fine.
Yeah, you said
It
you
could
lived in
be,
Utah for a bit, didn't you?
huh?
You said you lived in Utah for a bit.
Yes, sir.
While we're on this topic, we can go back to the next one right after this.
I
But what
am
I
not
did,
Mormon by any stretch of the
oh
imagination.
no,
I
that's
was
what I was about
raised
to
as a
tell you.
Catholic.
That's what I was about to tell you when I was about to tell you what church I was. That's why I asked you where you're from, where and all you've lived, because when I tell you this might throw you, but you probably know there's two by that same name. One's Mormon, one ain't. Church of
Right.
Christ.
Yeah, that's the Church of Jesus Christ, Latter-day Saints.
And then you got the other Church of Christ where it's basically reworded into English because of how it was worded back then. It says Christ is of church, salutes you with a kiss. Where how they used to write things
Yeah.
backwards. That's what I was getting at. And that's why I use the terminology, even for these that claim they're religious, rehab faith.
Yeah. See, that's why I'm like, I get on this level of, I'm not, it's, to me, it's not religion that has actually kept me able to do what Alcoholics Anonymous says is impossible. My daddy died from alcoholism. All right. If you look at my house, if you look around me here, I'll show you. I drank. I hella drank. I mean, no, really.
I've drank a
I
half a
hella
gallon
drank.
of moonshine in one night.
But the difference is that's bottles of whiskey over a year and a half. Okay, that's not. Yeah, that's not like in one day. That's not in one sitting. That's over a year and a half right there.
Yeah, I believe you because if you drink that much in one day, you'd be petrified.
My daddy used to drink a half a gallon a day. Yeah, you heard that right. Half a gallon of whiskey and a half of a gallon of vodka a day.
Couldn't. I'm surprised he didn't have a heart attack just from drinking in one night.
Oh, gallon of hard liquor a day. That's what my daddy went through. By the end, at least. He used to go through a 30 pack of beer by the time he was my age. I maybe have at the most a 6-pack a week of beer.
Now I've drank. I ain't gonna lie. I've drank 60 beers in one night or more. About a half a quart of moonshine, 2 or 3 shots of whiskey, about a half a gallon of Fireball.
That's
still didn't have a seizure.
That's incredibly dangerous, but it's also the reason why it's probably helping you is not because it's good for you, but because it's bad for you. To be honest, the reason why it's helping is because of what it does to your brain.
One of my friends even said it. He said, you might have a chemical imbalance up there.
Yeah, that's the way that all mental health disorders are considered to be, is chemical imbalances. Now,
the last seizure I had, this is how bad our area has gotten. They said, have you ever had it prescribed or tried it or took it? Valiums. Like, they was basically like, have you even done Valiums once to just see if it would help you with your seizures or anything? I've known to people that they've even asked them when they got in the ambulance, well, if you would have had pot tonight, you wouldn't have ended up in this shape, maybe. And
right.
us in a tobacco state and the Bible Belt.
I think it's fucking hilarious because sometimes I've been in places where if you even mentioned that you had like a prescription for it, because I did, all right, they'd arrest you. When I was living in California, I was about 18, 19 years old. No, wait. No. I was 26, maybe 27. My grandmama died. And we went up to Idaho to go to the funeral. And I had my medical pot with me and my prescription with me, all right, my prescription paperwork. When we were headed up through Utah to Idaho, we got pulled over because Utah Highway Patrol has a personal vendetta against me. They do not like me, even though they've got no grounds at all to come after me. None. As a matter of fact, Utah Highway Patrol has made it a point to, every time I've ever gone through there, to try and harass me. That being said, now we was going through there and I had, my little medical kit and whatnot with a little bit of pot and a little bit of this, that, and the other, some little bit of extract because I use some of that extract on my, on my shoulders and whatnot when I get really bad kinks in my neck. So we're headed up through there. Highway Patrol pulls us over, and this cop tries to tell me that I'm under arrest because I've got possession of marijuana, controlled substance. I read him the freaking riot act because in the state of Utah, if you have a prescription, you can smoke pot and you can have extracts, but only if you have a prescription, not a recommendation. All right. I got it prescribed. So this feller tries to pull us over, or tries to throw me in handcuffs and throw my daddy in handcuffs just for, going to my grandmama's funeral. He said, if you pour it out on the ground right now, I won't give you a ticket. I won't arrest you. I won't nothing. I says, arrest me. I will have your badge, I will have your job, and I will have you in handcuffs. Arrest me, please. Highway Patrol turned his ass around and left. And that's why I says, prescription.
You'd be surprised when you started looking up what and all's got medical purposes.
Cocaine.
The only thing that don't really have any medical use is that new stuff going around, which is worse than anything.
Fentanyl?
Yeah.
Actually, it does have a medical use. You know what it is?
What?
Pain reliever.
Well,
It is a beta blocker pain reliever, kind of like opiates. But it's so potent that you can overdose on a microgram.
I know it's even worse than meth.
Yep. You know what's funny is that methamphetamine was originally a drug utilized specifically for combat soldiers.
Yeah, and it's also good for narcolepsy, epilepsy, ADHD, bipolar.
Oh, tell me about it. When they thought I had ADHD real bad, they had me on so much Ritalin. I swear to God, I could have started my own meth lab with my urine.
You're probably like which seizure meds are I'm on, ain't you?
Huh?
See, I'm on Keppra and Depakote.
Depakote almost killed me when we first tried it, and Keppra hadn't come out yet.
I'm surprised it ain't tried to kill me, because I once took, no, more than once, I took a double dose.
The reason why Depakote tried to kill me was because I have an adverse reaction to it.
Oh.
It's not because it's like, it's a potent medication. It is a potent medication anyways.
Yeah, it is.
But it caused me to become dehydrated while drinking gallons of water. It caused me to have a salt flush.
Yeah, I know. Because I've even read when you got epilepsy itself, your body's going to crave salt.
Yep.
Okay, I know a lot of people probably don't know what I'm about to say, but I bet you've heard of it. Adrenal gland disease.
The what?
Adrenal glands.
Adrenaline glands. Yeah. Oh, yeah.
The person that discovered that.
Adrenal fatigue syndrome.
Yeah, and he even said the person that discovered it, and he said in my studies, he said this is weird. He said it seems like a lot of people with this syndrome crave salt and has seizures. And it says in the end of the guy where he read it, he said a lot of people that has this though don't die from seizures, but they die from cardiac trouble. Mm-hmm. My late grandfather had it. My great grandmother on my grandmother's side had it, but she didn't die from heart disease, didn't even have it. Hey, she died from worse threat stroke, got too far along, and it more or less shut down her kidneys, and she had Alzheimer's. Now, my late grandfather had it, and he had cardiac arrest.
Well, if you drink coffee and you drink more than 3 cups in the morning and do not drink water with it, you have adrenal fatigue syndrome. Guaranteed.
Yep, that, and I've read meth use.
That can cause it, but I'm saying that one of the actual symptoms of adrenal fatigue syndrome is you try to find adrenal inhibitors, things that replace adrenaline in your system in order to make it so that you can function. That's why, if you'll notice, even though I'm sitting here, I want to get me a cup of coffee. I want to go have me some coffee. I haven't touched it. I actually got myself some orange juice. And before that, I had a cup of water. I had 1 cup of coffee this whole time that I've been on the live stream. And before that, I had maybe 1 cup of coffee when I woke up.
And see, after my grandpa quit growing the tobacco, what he would do mostly was there's even a picture of him where he fell asleep playing solitary.
Yeah,
That was during the
that
off
game would
season.
do that to you anyways, though.
But the natural doctor said this. He said people that have that problem that can sleep like that, he said they're better off than the ones that don't sleep.
Yeah, because the ones that don't sleep end up like me having pericardium and hypertension.
Well, see, he had that though too. But what's pericardium?
Pericardium is where you end up like my granddaddy. When he died, he ended up having a hole in his heart about as big around as my thumb.
Ah, okay.
Blew
Is there
a piece of scar tissue out of the back of his heart about that big around.
dang? What's it called? Is there two types of hardening of the arteries, like a type 1 and type 2?
Yeah.
Which one's more rare and which one's harder to fix?
Type
Or
2.
see, my granddaddy had type 1 and his daddy had the one that's more or less, if you get it, you ain't gonna live past 60 something. And his daddy lived past 82 and was born in 1980 and chewed a whole big, not a small twist either, it's a backer, but one about that big and about 12 to 16 inches long and weighed over a pound, and chewed one of them a day almost every day for his, and started chewing when he was 5 years old.
I'll point out to you right now, just like my granddaddy, I drink my whiskey and I like it. Just like my granddaddy, I smoke roll your own cigarettes. All right. And just like my granddaddy, I like my fucking salt, damn it. I mean, yeah, roll my own cigarettes.
My granddaddy could roll them too like that.
Oh,
I can't even roll them with a machine.
that's sitting next to my chair over here where I eat my dinner every night.
I'm one of those kind of people. I can even put salt in the Dr. Pepper. Like it's not too salty.
I can't stand Dr. Pepper. But I get what you're coming from because I'll put salt in my oatmeal, so
Salt
and
on
regret.
country ham.
Huh?
Salt on country ham.
Yeah.
And they told me I've got high cholesterol.
It ain't healthy, but damn it, it's so good.
And they're like, the last time I went to the doctor, you want us to check it for you? I'm like, no, that's one last thing I want to know I've got. I got epilepsy. I got both of my shoulders. They'll dislocate on me.
See, that right there is why I'm tore up from the floor up. My doctor says to me when I went the last time I went into the doctor's, I says, so doc, what's the prognosis? When am I going to die? He says, well, you're not going to die today. You're not going to die tomorrow. You're not going to die the next day. But you could die in 5 seconds. I said, what?
They done told my ex not to expect to see past 50, and she's been septic so many times. They've even had to put her in medical induced comas from it. She's got lupus. She has to wear a catheter now until the day she dies. She's got a messed up back. She's had to have surgery on her hip. She was in a wreck, and they even told her if it wasn't for her having on her seatbelt, it would have ejected her. So she had to have a surgery, I guess, probably from that, how bad that was. She's got emphysema, COPD, heart disease, carpal tunnel, neuropathy, diabetes.
Shit, sounds like me.
And she's only 29.
I am 35 years old, and since I was 21, I have had 38 heart attacks I have sprained my ankle since I was 17, 67 times.
And I think I had a light heart attack, and they just couldn't recognize it at the hospital, and thought because of my age they wasn't wanting to do like the what's it called, the dye test. Because see, when I went to stand up, I think I've told you this story before. It's like when I stood up, I got more lightheaded, and like light was extremely bright.
Vertigo. That happens to folks who have cardiovascular issues and folks who happen to have something else, which is it makes it so that diagnosing cardiovascular issues becomes really difficult, and cardio doctors won't they won't even mess with it. They'll tell you that you got nothing wrong with your heart, even though you might have a serious problem with your heart if you have that issue. And that is,
I know what you're talking about. Another problem it could be, because sometimes my granddaddies would have flare-ups of this, and it wouldn't necessarily be actual heart disease, but it would be something just about in the same family, angina or whatever the.
yeah, angina will do that, but that's in the heart issues realm. I'm talking, it's in your spinal cord in your neck. And what happens is if you go like this, you get dizzy. If you go like this, it'll make you dizzy. And what it is it's your spinal cord is too short for your spine. Most people that have this problem actually have scoliosis as well.
Or hunchback.
Not hunchback per se, but you could have the one where it's like mine, where your vertebrae do this going all the way down your back, like they're offset going all the way down. Or
I got
it could be like a question mark, like Forrest Gump. Or you can have the one where, facing this direction, your spine goes like this. It kind of does this kind of S turn instead of doing instead of facing side on, you get this kind of a look. It goes straight down, and then it kind of does this into your belly and then out.
So in other words, if I would have been somewhere like Louisville, where the doctors are smarter, or Nashville, they might have ran more tests, and who's to say that I might have not actually found out that night what might have caused my seizures.
Right, because there's the thing. Too many tests can fog the results. See, that's what I'm saying.
I have what they call I don't even know if you've even heard of them, but idiopathic.
Means you trigger your own seizures?
That's what I'm thinking.
No, like instead of it being something that's an outward stress related situation, by thinking of certain things or by seeing certain combinations of flashing lights, not necessarily flashing lights in general, but certain combinations of colors at certain speeds will trigger a seizure.
How many people are in here watching?
4.
Well, I'll leave it in the comments then. In the private chat.
I mean, it's been 2 hours, but no, it's not like anybody's gonna see it. But anyways, no. What I was saying though is that if you've got that issue with your neck, like I do, where your spinal cord is too short for your vertebrae, for your spinal vertebrae, where you've got larger vertebrae than your spinal cord is actually evolved or built for, you can cause yourself to have vertigo, and at the same time, because of that particular, it will skew the results for cardiovascular surgeons and whatever, cardiovascular doctors, to where they can't understand whether or not it's your heart that's got the problem or it's your brain. And if
Yeah.
it's your brain, then there's really nothing anyone can do to fix that. If it's your heart, they can kind of help you a little bit, but again, it's not much they can do.
Just read the private chat. Don't read it out loud.
Yeah. No, I see that. And brother, that's literally just somebody
Being an
doing it
asshole.
around you. That's not you doing it. I wouldn't blame you. All right. But I'm gonna say that probably when they did that, you got a bit of a contact, and yeah, it helped. Now, would I suggest you go and you do that? No,
No,
absolutely not.
and he even recorded it, but he deleted it after he let me see it. My speech and everything. It was like clarity in the speech. That eye that I showed you. He said it straightened up, and I even seen it. I mean, I didn't even look like I had that problem with the eye.
Yeah, but there
Sounds like
again, that comes down to an issue, not so much with your not so much an issue necessarily with your brain as with your kidneys. Mm, again, adrenal fatigue syndrome. The reason why it is such a problem is because of what it does to your brain. Your
so.
brain runs on adrenaline and sugar. A lot of people don't know that.
Mine could probably be traced all the way back then to the adrenaline
Yep.
syndrome. You see, that doctor, he said before he even tested mine, he said, I've noticed now for years that yours was going down, sort of. And this was at 18. And he said, now I'm going to check them. He said, sure enough, he said, you got it.
See, I have a different kind of adrenaline problem. I've got what's called not it's not adrenal fatigue. I've got adrenal surplus. It's also known as muscular tensor. Uh, basically, what Cucullin had, the problem Cucullin had, the Irish feller that would turn into a giant rage monster and shit.
Yeah.
That's why I have an aggression issue.
Have you ever met anybody that was on Depakote?
Mm-hmm.
When you take that shit, it's like you literally can't do nothing for like an hour or two unless you drink
Yep.
coffee, smoke, dip, chew. My stepdad's like, oh, that's all in your head.
That might actually be part of the problem instead of part of the solution.
What,
Now,
the
that being
Depakote?
said, don't take that as medical advice. I'm not giving medical advice here, all right? I'm just trying to
I'll
point
tell you
out
this.
different possibilities.
I'll tell you this. I've went 45 days once without taking it and not had a seizure. And when I don't take it, I feel better.
Huh. You
That's
know,
why that's why I wonder if they finally just asked me that over there at the hospital, because they got a neurologist now over here instead of having to drive 30 miles away or 40. I wonder if that's why they asked me that about the benzos.
yeah, if they asked me the same thing when I was on Depakote. They asked me if I was on any kind of Benzedrine or anything like that. I says no. And they said, well, why are you having these problems? I said, I don't know. And I started losing my tongue. Like I couldn't use my tongue.
But I asked my
And
friend, I said, their nerve medication, I said, wouldn't they make you sleepy? He said, no. He said, not all. He said, not all nerve pills do.
no, they don't.
I
Some of
looked
them can make you kind of hyper and jittery.
yeah. He said, think about it like sativa and indica.
Well, let me put it to you this ways. I do not take a single pill. I have not taken a single pill since I was 25. All right. The most you'll ever catch me taking is an aspirin when I have a heart attack. And
And
I've
how
felt
hard is it to
better
get?
since then because of that. I have
I
not had
know,
more than, since I was 25, I've not had more than one seizure. And that was actually due to recovery from the injury to my face.
and I know each state's different, but How hard was it to get it in your state? A prescription for marijuana?
I was living in California at the time.
So not hard at all. Yeah.
No, it wasn't hard, but it was a matter of, I actually had to show the doctor the 36-inch suture on my stomach and the scar that's underneath my beard here, which meant I had to go in completely clean shaven.
So how hard do you think it'd be here in Kentucky to get it?
Depends on what you're trying to treat. If you're treating epilepsy, one, you're never going to have a firearm again. I'm just going to tell you that now. They will come and take your firearms. The most you will ever have is, like me, an air gun. Okay? This is an air gun. That's the most you'll ever have again in your life. You'll never have another firearm.
So where I'm living with my parents, that'll be a no-go.
They'll actually come and take your parents' firearms.
Yeah, that'll be a no-go then. I ain't getting it. Nope. I'll stick with the Difficult then.
The downside of that is that the depth coat might be causing the problem.
But see, I got my great-grandfather's shotgun.
Mm-hmm. Oh, by the way, black powder guns are not firearms.
Oh, it ain't black powder, though. But I do got a black, but my stepdad does got a black powder, one right down here. And the woman that we bought the house off of, she thought it was a replica, not even a real black powder one. So here's the thing: we don't even know if it's got black powder in it or not.
Well, I'd get me a worm and clear it and clean it and make it righteous before you ever go messing around with it. Just on the off chance that it's got a charge in it.
That's what my grandma's new husband said.
That's why I like air guns. It's really difficult to fuck up an air gun.
That's why I wish my mama would. I'm not being. See, I ain't got none in my name. That's why I wish my mama would let me go ahead and move out.
Yeah, again, that's why I can only have air guns, because of one, the pot, and two, my mama. I've been working on getting myself a black powder pistol, again, because I cannot have a firearm. One, because of my mama. Two, because of pot. And three, really, because when I was a little bit younger, I got mixed up in some shit where, trying to protect a doctor, I went and I made a fedunket and said some things that I really shouldn't have said in front of the freaking patrons of the hospital, but I did. And instead of fooling a dumbass into thinking that I was going to go and perpetrate a crime in his stead and keeping everybody at the hospital safe, I ended up getting people at the hospital thinking I was going to go and perpetrate the crime in real time, and ended up getting arrested for attempted murder and terrorism. And yeah.
Dang.
I got all the charges knocked off and whatnot, but the only one that ever stuck was because I showed up to try and warn the police that were there present about the other individual's intentions. And I had my daddy's pistol in my backpack, and my backpack was on the front seat of my car.
See, I'm lucky that I didn't get tried as an adult once, and then I'm lucky that I didn't go to county jail once as an adult. I knocked down the bathroom stall. This was after I turned 18. The principal grabbed me like this. And said, now you're going to see me mad.
Yeah, and that right there is what I'm saying. It's a matter of I have an aggression complex, and I understand it, but at the same time, I'm an adult. I don't act like a dumbass. I don't go trying to cause problems. I've done some stupid shit in my life. Everybody does. All right. But I'm not going to go pointing guns at people unless they are pointing guns at me or attempting to harm somebody in my general vicinity. That's the thing. Yeah. And
there's somebody, they're lucky that I didn't point one at them because they was harming my cousin. That's all I got to say.
Yeah. That's actually why I started carrying one of these. Because I can't have a firearm.
Now, he did point a shotgun at me, that same dude. No, it wasn't a shotgun. It was a handgun. I even pointed the handgun back at him, and he just looked at me like in a maze, like, I didn't know you could do that in real life.
Well, dumbass, take the fucking safety off, right? Yeah, I know. There's something that I gotta say because I did that with a 1911. Somebody left the freaking thumb safety on, and they pointed the gun at my forehead and said, "I'm gonna blow you away." And I says, "Really?"
No, he was still holding it in his own hands when I turned it around on him. Like, basically, I've got control of your gun and your hands.
See, I never learned that one. I learned to take the gun away and control the situation. I was taught by my daddy, who was Taekwondo special, and my mama, who was karate, and a cousin of mine, who's Krav Maga specialist, and a friend of ours that does Wing Chun. And so I learned speed, efficiency, and distraction. And what I literally did was I looked at the side of their gun and said, "Really?" And he went like this. And that's when I moved, because it was just on the thumb, the hammer safety was the only thing that was stopping him from really actually blowing me away.
See, my granddaddy was almost 40 years old when Civil War broke out, and he was in the Civil War. His daddy was born in 1880. Then he was a street fighter and boxer up there in Gary, Indiana, then moved back down here. And that's why I was like, when he looked at me, thought that was only something possible like in westerns and action movies. I guess he found out that night.
Yeah, nope. That's a real thing that can be done. It's very unlikely that you will be successful if somebody knows what they are doing with a firearm. However, if they're stupid enough to leave on the fucking thumb safety.
I even told him, I'm like, even if you got the safety on, even if you don't put it down, I can still break your wrist with it.
Yep. And that's precisely why, as I says, even though I'm not allowed to have a firearm, because I'm allowed to have an air gun, I buy the most expensive, best of the best kind of air guns. By the way, screw tube. It's an air gun. It looks like a big old scary black rifle now, don't it?
Yeah. I'll tell you something else. You ever lived anywhere close to where they grew tobacco?
I lived down in Florida once.
See, I'll tell you something I've got for protection. A tobacco knife.
That's some scary shit. Now, mind you, I am not personally legally allowed to have a long blade. However, this right here, pretty sure you know what that is, right?
Yeah.
A lot of folks call that a machete, but actually, if you look at there, that's got a clip point on it, which turns a machete into a cutlass. It's a molasses knife for cutting sugar cane.
I don't even know what this is, but this is something that I keep right beside of my bed.
Woo. Really now? Oh, sweet Jesus.
What is that?
Is that a cane sword?
No, I don't know what it is. It ain't a cane sword.
What's the other end look like? I saw that it's got a pommel, but it's a cane? No. Is a walking stick? No. That's a fucking shillelagh.
What's a shillelagh?
A shillelagh?
Yeah,
It's an Irish.
shillelagh.
It's an Irish fighting stick. This is literally an Irish fighting stick, brother. You got a shillelagh.
Yeah, I keep that right beside my bed.
But yeah, that's why I thought it was kind of cool. You mentioned a tobacco knife. I says, well, I got a cutlass.
And then I've got this in here in my room. A cigarette ashtray stand.
An ashtray stand, huh?
And then I got this closer towards my bed.
Yeah, that'll do. Improvised weaponry. The most potent weaponry there is. Like, for instance, if you know how to throw a knife, this is one of the most lethal weapons in the world that has killed more human beings than anything else on this planet.
Then I guess this is what this is too. Is another shillelagh or shillelagh or whatever.
Shillelagh. Yeah, does it have the top on it, like the rounded pommel on the top? Yes, that's a shillelagh. That's what makes a shillelagh, by the way, is that it's got that round ball at the top, and that's the striking knob. That's what they call a gnarl. And then you've got the rest of the stick, which is really just a walking stick, is all it is.
I don't even know what this is. This is just some old stick.
But you know what? Here's some at, and I literally sleep with this shit in my pocket sometimes.
And then I got these in case that don't work, and this is made out of metal.
So, one of my favorite little toys. You know what that is, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Throwing knives.
See, I sleep downstairs all by myself now. Since we moved.
You can tell I am not a slouch.
So I basically try to take precautions to protect myself.
Yeah, I carry throwing knives. I carry a side knife, a belt knife, which is actually something I've learned to use over the years, but also something that was used against me. So, like as I says, don't get you knives. I've never been a proponent of telling others to get knives. I've been a proponent of telling others, buy a firearm if you can. If you can't, buy a black powder gun. If you don't want to buy a black powder gun or a firearm, get yourself an air gun. Because this shit will get you killed. Yeah, I would hate to be hit with a shillelagh though. Them things is mean. Ooh.
I just accidentally hit myself with it one night and I realized it hurt.
Uh-huh. Oh, there's another thing that most people don't realize is one of the most dangerous freaking weapons ever known to mankind.
Sledgehammer.
No, not a sledgehammer. That's just a single jack.
Oh.
It's a forging hammer. One of the most deadly weapons ever known to mankind because it has created more swords than any other tool.
This kind of stick, was that what Johnny Walker had in his hand?
Possibly either had a cane or a shillelagh or... I mean, you ever heard of, God, what's his name? You watch WWE?
Yeah.
All right. Sheamus. He used to walk into the ring all the time with a shillelagh in his hand. But it was a short shillelagh, not a long one.
Well, this actually says it was made by somebody back in 1979.
Yeah, that's a long shillelagh. They're basically really dangerous walking canes. They're made for fighting. They're not made for just walking around and dickering around. Any Hosier's, brother. My computer's about to die, so I hate to do this, but I got to shut the Freedoooom down.
Yeah,
It's been fun, and thank you for coming.
you too.
And
Nice talking to you. What I meant. Sorry about that.
I appreciate it. I still thank you.
You're welcome.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, this has been Ye Old Guardsman. I'm Too Salty, and the Kentucky Dick Man. Kentucky Dip Man. My bad. My mouth. Boy, I'm telling you, if it wasn't for having half a jawbone, I could actually speak.
Or WCD SCP Southern. I'll get this, and I'll make it real quick. Somebody tonight up on Bounty's panel was
That
calling
would be
me out
our
where I used the name Southern in my channel, and them a Yankee.
what? Hold on a sec. Someone says you was a Yankee?
No, it was a Yankee making fun of me and all kinds of things on Bounty's live panel.
Oh. Well, you know how Yankees are. They can't be cordial even if they tried. Any Hoosiers. As I was saying, this has been the Kentucky Dip Man and Ye Old Guardsman with yonder Freedom Forum. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for showing up and saying hi and whatnot and appearing and whatnot. And if you want to next time, please come up onto the panel. I love everybody who comes around. And y'all have a good one now. I am Ye Old Guardsman, motherfuckers, and I am
Well, my cousin just made me mad.